Welcome back, everyone, to the Nevin Shapiro Show. I'm Mike Tirado. I'm here with Nevin Shapiro, and today we are going to do a recruiting update and some new intel on what's been going on in the recruiting world for the University of Miami. But before the video starts, we are almost at 500 subscribers on YouTube, and we have a little shirt here that Nevin is going to be giving away at 500 subscribers. So why don't you let them know, Nevin? Just give them a little bit more backlash on what's going on here.
Yeah, so anyway, so when I was locked up, you know, this clown put out this shirt without my approval. He used my name likeness without my permission. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give away this shirt, and I'm going to also give away the lawsuit that comes with the shirt.
Well, there you have it.
So whoever, I don't know if this guy's still in business, but if he is, it might be time. Don't call it out.
All right.
It's not necessary.
Okay.
You know, shock and awe. Better to serve it up cold. He might as well get on the train that Diddy missed.
Well, before the video starts, guys, please click that subscribe button. We are now sponsored by BTN Connect, which is backed by Athlete Narrative, the all-in-one recruiting platform getting kids seen, signed, and to the next level. And without further ado, let's get into the action. All right, Nev, so we had Tavares on last week, so obviously we couldn't cover the Jackson Cantwell situation that transpired. Miami inevitably signed Jackson Cantwell. Well, really didn't sign him. He committed to the University of Miami. He obviously still has a chance to flip, you know, coming into December. David Pollack on ESPN, he came out and went really hard at Mario. He said, this is his statement: they haven't had an offensive lineman drafted in 2022 or 2023. They had one 7th-round pick in 2024 and a 5th-round pick in 2025. So what you're telling me is that I'm going to get developed. It's not a knock. It's just the facts. That was his statement.
Yeah.
You know, what's your comments to that kind of statement?
Well, I didn't know about that comment. What I will say is Alex Mirabal, I think, is a very good offensive line coach. Mario is obviously a former offensive lineman. Maybe Mario didn't have the talent in place to develop those guys from an offensive lineman standpoint. I would argue in Mario's favor that Francis Magoa will break that trend and will be a top, more than likely, 10 pick. I don't think he's the only one on that line. I would guess that, well, Jalen Rivers went, right?
He went 5th round.
5th round.
Yeah.
So I would say for sure Francis Magoa. Bell is going to get drafted inevitably just on his size value. The guy next to Magoa is
Inez Cooper.
Inez Cooper is solid. Yeah. Maybe that comment is premature, I would say.
He even went further, and this is kind of more in your wheelhouse because it has to do with NIL. Mm-hmm. He said, you're seeing a lot of spending right now going on in all the colleges.
Yeah.
Okay. In July, there's going to be a salary cap that's going to hit, is what he's saying, and there's going to be punishments. When you overspend, you're going to get slapped, and I hope they slap the absolute fire out of people. I hope it's a backhand like you see on X when they show those slapping competitions, and you just sit there and eat it. This is his comment.
I can assure you, Mike, that there's another Nevin Shapiro running around who's going to go above the salary cap. I will assure you of that. The NCAA bought this. Anyone could point a finger. I mean, you know what my thoughts are with regards to Mario in general, with regards to some of the thoughts I have. You also know what it is as it relates to the NCAA being the biggest clown show since Barnum and Bailey Circus. That being said, they bought this problem. Someone tried to warn them 14 years ago, me, and they didn't give a fuck because they're just greedy, and that's what they do.
Right.
And so, you know, maybe David Pollack feels that way, and he's not wrong in certain respects, because even though it sounds funny, I'm a purist at heart, if that's not the misnomer of all time. But, you know, it's not a level playing field. The big guys are going to do their thing, and, you know, Miami's in big boy school now.
Nevin, I have a question for you.
Yes.
So the $20.5 million salary cap or slush fund or whatever you're going to call it, that's one thing, but that's not going to take away from these collectives paying on the marketing side of things, on the NIL side, right? On the image and likeness. So that's
right.
Moot point,
It's a moot point, yeah. And that's a great, that's a great point, man. And, you know, the The salary cap, even when I saw that put into place, I knew it was a joke. It's the same joke that existed. Let me be clear. Everybody who's watching or whoever's watching this, take your feelings about me out of the equation, okay? I warned the NCAA a long time ago. There's another guy like me out there. All they had to do was pacify the natives. The natives being the student athletes, which, let's forget student athletes. They're athletes now, right? All they had to do was show that, okay, we're going to come to the table with something proper. But they weren't interested in that. They wanted it all. Hence, the NIL. That's where we are today. So that salary cap is just, it's like a warning citation. It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't exist. It's a non-existent. That was a great question. And that's the truth.
Could they come into a situation where they make it so ridiculous of a penalty, let's just say a death penalty situation, if they catch a Nevin Shapiro going outside of the cap,
okay,
could they make it so, brutal?
Yeah, let me give you that answer. No.
Okay.
Why? Conferences will not allow that, man, or you got to be crazy. That's why the Miami situation back then fell to the wayside. It fell to the wayside because Mark Emmert was in conversations with Donna Shalala and John Swofford, who was the ACC commissioner. I don't know if he still is, but I just know that's conference. You're cutting into their pie.
You're talking about a $4.5 billion
Animal.
year just in TV rights alone. Like, what are you going to give a death penalty to an Alabama if they get caught red-handed?
It's not going to happen.
It's not practical. It's not going to happen. There's just way too much money in the sport. You can kiss goodbye this whole notion that they're going to do things ethically in this sport.
It's
and
over.
Evan, I mean, do you agree with that? Because that's how I see it.
You know where I've stood on this matter. Not only that, I'm buying heavy stock in the athletes right now because they're going to keep getting theirs, and that's cool. Is it a system that I would have put in place? No, I don't like it because you're not getting. I don't like the transfer world. I just don't like the state of the world. Am I going to watch every game? I won't miss a week. I won't miss a day. I'll be there 24/7 whether I like it or I don't like the system. I promise you. And I think I speak for about a zillion other people out there who can't wait for 100 days from now. It can't start fast enough. If it started this afternoon, I'd leave this interview and go watch.
Yeah, no, 100%. I just think, if you're not the only one that's probably warned them at this point.
Yeah.
And there's got to be something in place for a penalty.
I just don't know how the horses all left the barn. They're running into the Yellowstone. Come back.
Yeah.
That's like telling Russell Simmons to come back from Bali right now with what's going on with Diddy. He's gone. The horses are gone, man.
Right. So I know there's another situation, Nevin, that appeared over the weekend where the University of Miami has now offered Calvin Russell a basketball scholarship, one of the top receivers in the country, local South Florida kid. I know you're really close to that situation. I just wanted to get your input on, kind of what's going on, as much as you could share, at least.
Well, I don't have any immediate knowledge.
No names or nothing,
and stuff. But I don't think they should have lost Javari Flowers, who they could have easily had, same school. I've definitely known of some schools that are smoking hot on his trail. They've got one thing going for them, Miami. He's a Northwestern local product, and his mom, Nevi, was a Hall of Fame University of Miami basketball player. That's what's going for them. But there's a lot of things. I know Syracuse offered him to play both ways. Mario just probably matched the deal because they had to. He's $3 million a year, in my opinion. If a kid who's not a local star, 5-star, is it more important to get Jackson Cantwell from Missouri or a 5-star from your backyard, which is a pipeline? Who's worth more?
And that was actually going to be my next question, because it's like, what's the level of urgency right now, would you say, for Mario? Because all these other outlets for UM are saying we're going to lose him like we lost Calvin Ridley, like we lost Jerry Jeudy. This ends with Calvin Russell. Everyone's saying this is it. It's over. We're getting this kid, this losing of these receivers out of South Florida. It ends with Calvin.
Well, it should have ended at Jeremiah Smith.
You're absolutely right.
All it took was a 3-for-1 deal. Him and Bailey, the quarterback, they'd have been with their boy Trader. Now you got a harmony, and Smith would have probably been returning kicks.
So what you put him at a $3 million valuation? Is that what you would give him right now?
Actually, higher.
Okay.
I'd give him $4 million. He's worth $1.5 million more than a kid that lives fucking 60 states the other way. Fuck it, Mike. Give him $5 million.
I mean, listen. At this point, right? I mean, what are we gonna do at this point?
Just call Dennis.
What's your message to Dennis?
I think the guy in the background's giving it.
Oh my gosh, $5 million now for a receiver.
Who gives a fuck? It's found money. Whatever. I mean, whatever. They're spending money like it don't matter. Keep your own kid home. Is it more important to keep a kid from Northwestern, who's a 5-star and a legitimate one? Or
Nevin, I have another question. This conversation is just amazing. So I got to jump in here. All right, so Calvin Russell hypothetically comes to the University of Miami on a basketball, football scholarship. We have heard, because from people that we know that have worked closely with Mario in the past, they had a similar situation with T.Y. Hilton, and he pulled the okey doke and didn't let T.Y. play basketball. Now, can you see a situation like that happening? But now you have the threat of the portal, so if they don't give Calvin what he wants, he can just jump in the portal and go get it where he wants.
Yeah, interesting question. T.Y. Hilton's 2006, 2007. So that's a different era at a different time. He didn't have the leverage that the athlete or players have today. But as I've learned, going through a little bit of my own personal involvement, let's just say, not financial involvement, but just close to the situation, there's a couple of 4-star and 5-star guys in recent months who entered the portal, and one guy who had some other issues, and I got involved somehow in these discussions. I found myself in this position, and you lose a lot of leverage once you hit the portal without any film behind you, which is a crucial point to make. And I'd love to share the names, but it's just not proper for me to do so. And these guys were high flyers coming out of high school, but today's price isn't yesterday's price, and it goes the other way too. What you were before isn't what you are today, with no film. So Mario could actually cause some problems if you were to bring this kid in and he doesn't allow him to play. Mario would have the upper hand, but he would take such a black eye in this community of high school football that it would be political suicide on his behalf.
Absolutely.
If he pulled that type of shit. Now, if you're really going to let the kid play both, let him play both. But he'll get exposed so bad. I think Mario would come out on the wrong side of this.
Absolutely.
And he would maintain his job, but he'd be recruiting a lot in Missouri.
Yeah. So I want to go to this final segment that we're going to do here. And I'm sure you saw that Nick Saban will be the co-chair of the Presidential Commission of Studying College Sports. There was a report that came out. Alongside will be a well-known college athletic booster. And there was an Ohio State page that came out and said they're going as far as saying, this is the redemption story of Nevin Shapiro.
Well, they're partially right. My redemption is forthcoming, but it's not going to be sitting on the college committee. If anything, I'm going to figure out how to fuck the college committee even harder than they're getting fucked right now. I'm on the other side of the fence. I'm about the players, man. I'm about the players. Could they fix this? They had 14 years to fix this ago. Yellowstone. I'm chasing the horses.
But if in a scenario situation, if a Nick Saban or a Donald Trump were to approach you to ask you to sit on the board, I mean, is that something you would actually consider?
Yeah, I would consider that. I'd love to sit down with President Trump and have a discussion about this, preferably Mar-a-Lago, because I'm not allowed to travel. Unless he could write my judge a letter. But knowing the way those things go, she'd deny it.
Isn't it ironic that Nick Saban's getting this position, but Alabama's been accused of, finagling backdoor deals for years? It wasn't Nick Saban, but the people around the program, the Nevin Shapiros of the world, were giving money to these players because this is a known fact in the SEC. I mean, you got Cam over at Auburn that got a bag, his dad, and I got inside information on that. But isn't it kind of ironic that now he's going to be the one spearheading this with the NCAA?
It's just my luck. It's just my luck. I'm just going to sum our show up with this. You expecting something funny?
I already know where it's going.
When I was playing dominoes, and a guy said to me, I got no fucking luck. If it was raining pussy, I get hit in the head with a dick.
You were just in the wrong era of time for this.
You know what I'm saying?
Because you were just, it's actually a compliment to you because you were ahead of your time.
Yeah.
So you really were. You were 14 years ahead of this curve.
Yeah, I was 6'2", Mike, when I went to prison.
So I want to dispute that luck thing. Depends on the size of the dick, though, right?
And with that, I think we're going to conclude.
No, not yet. No. Listen, I need you know me, I always got to get the last punch in. No Diddy.
No Diddy. Well, before you guys do leave, we do have a signed Sean Taylor. This is going to go for 1,000 subscribers. So this shirt is 500. This is for 1,000. Nev, you want to comment anything on this?
No, Sean was, God rest his soul, man. One of my soldiers, man.
Yeah.
And I was fortunate enough to, just be around him and have him just a few things, But it's just time to let that go. Just time. You know how I feel. I'm exercising all demons.
Yeah. Well, before you guys leave, guys, please click that subscribe button. And as always, we'll catch you on the next one.